I text you last night.
Yeah.
I say, Brian, and all this shit happens in order. I'm watching Jaishawn Barum. I'm watching him.
Yeah.
And he's playing on the edge the entire time. I say,
yeah.
I stumbled across Oklahoma film where he's mostly playing off the ball. I say, wait a minute. I say, no, you wait a minute. He's playing mostly off ball. I say, well, Brian, you need to make sure that you watch Oklahoma tape of Deshawn Barum because I think that the context will be important for the conversation.
I have.
I text you another time because I kept watching. I say, hold on, Brian. You need to look at some of the the last year stuff too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he was a full-time linebacker then.
Yeah.
That requires even more context for this player. I love when a player requires further context. I might make a shirt out of that. What it is, RQC, something like that. Zach Branch doesn't require a whole bunch of context. I know who he is, right? I love when I see something in a player and I discover more as I go. I'm a big nerd, Brian. I play JRPGs and shit, you know what I'm saying? I love to discover things. I love to find new, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's talk about Barham for a second. My report of him, outside linebacker, and I'm going in order. Outside linebacker, Brian, I can see he has a good first step, can explode, bendy. He's different than, because earlier I watched Crawford from Auburn. Auburn's more of a power rusher, right?
Sure.
I'm watching Barham. Barham is more of a speed guy. I'm using my bendiness, my ball get off. I'm getting around the edge. Barham doesn't have a whole bunch of moves. He doesn't have a whole bunch of switch ups, but he is explosive and he flies, and that's how he wins. Ultimately, in my report, Brian, I said Barham is better when he wins early. You understand what I'm saying? When he can beat you off the ball and be quicker than you and get to your back hip quick, you good. If you can deal with that initial burst, he doesn't have a second plan to beat you in the second part of the rush. You understand? So I thought that was interesting. I eventually figured out that he hadn't been playing edge very long. He's a very raw edge, so it makes sense why that's the case. But Brian, as an edge guy, he was kind of up and down as a run defender, right? I thought he was good dealing with counters. I thought he thumped pullers really well, but guys are kind of moving him around a little bit if they get latched on to him. He just didn't deal with powerful dudes coming straight at him every now and then, right? He's probably going to be a standing edge linebacker. This is just where I'm at in my notes because I'm going down the list. He's probably going to be like a standing linebacker type guy. I stumbled across Ohio State, okay? My mind doesn't change. He's doing some of the same things. He's either winning early or he's getting beat late. A couple of goal line plays he lined up off the ball at linebacker at Ohio State in the goal line. I said, oh, they have an interesting package where they put him off the ball to do whatever. I don't know why they did it, but they did it. Cool. My thoughts don't change. In my mind at this point, Brian, he's just an edge that played Mike for like 5 plays. I get to Oklahoma where he plays mostly off ball. I say, okay. He'll do some edge stuff. He'll pass rush from A-gap standing at Mike sometimes, Brian. Pretty decent, like an A-gap, B-gap blitzer. I'm fine with, fine with him doing that. I didn't think he was really good processing as an off-the-ball linebacker at Oklahoma. I thought they did a lot of things to kind of, play with his eyes, mix him up a little bit. They got blockers on him pretty quick. So in my mind at this point, Brian, I'm saying, okay, Barham's not an off-ball Mike Will linebacker, but he is an edge that requires a bunch of work. I had like a 4 on him or something, Brian.
Yeah.
I did further research and I realized that last year he played all off-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
I say, cool, it'll make a little bit of sense for me to watch him as an off-ball linebacker from last year, just to add further context to my report. And Brian, I thought his last year's linebacker tape was much better than what I saw from him at Oklahoma. Now, could that have been, I haven't played off ball all year. You need me to play off ball in this game in particular, and maybe I'm a little rusty at playing off ball because I've been on the edge all year. But Brian, last year when I saw him play off ball, when he'd been playing off ball all year, he was a much better linebacker. He saw it much better, better instincts. I know he ran a 4.6 40 at the combine or whatever, but I saw him run around.
Yeah.
I saw him run around pretty well. I didn't think he was a super cover guy, but I felt like he had the athleticism to be decent in coverage, just moving behind him, playing in certain zones. I wouldn't want him manning up with anybody, but just dropping back, moving around, he looked fine. It made me go, okay, can I get his 2024 linebacker stuff with him being a developing pass rusher from 2025 tape? And I basically came away with the idea that he's a discount Arvell Reese, Brian Broaddus, because they use Reese in the same kind of ways. They'll play him off ball. He'll play the run. He's decent playing the run. He blitzes in A-gap and all. Very athletic, running around. He'll drop back some. And on clear passing downs, he'll go up and rush from the edge. Requires a ton of work rushing on the edge, but he'll be fine one day. I can see the same thing from Jaishawn Barum, but to a lesser extent. On my board, I know I'm being long-winded. Pardon me, I'm going to let you talk.
No, all good. All good.
On my board, I have him listed as a linebacker, not an edge.
Too.
Not an edge linebacker, but he's a regular off-ball linebacker with Reese Styles, Allen, Golday, and Hill. I got him in the 3rd round behind Trotter, but in front of Rodriguez, Brian. Tell me about Deshawn Barum.
You know what? I think you got him right. You know me, when I put together my stack of the outside backers, I had Golday and then our Arizona State guy and our Michigan kid here. And so I had those guys. Those are my 3rd round guys. I think this kid is really interesting because he played for an NFL defensive coordinator in Wink Martindale. The old Giants and Ravens guy that we've kind of dealt with in the past.
Zero pressure, yeah.
Yeah, and you see a guy that Wink uses him in a lot of different spots. So that was encouraging to me. This kid transferred from Maryland. And then, he's at 6'4", 240 pounds. He's an explosive athlete. He's got the vertical burst. He could be disruptive. You watch him on the edge. You can watch him inside. You can, there's some violence to the way this kid plays. Yeah. And I was thinking, man, God dang, this guy, I did see some instincts and some play recognition for him. And against the run, when the ball was kind of was going to the outside, you could see him kind of see it and be able to go. Yeah. I think he's got strengths to take on blocks. I think he could shed blocks. He could blitz. I saw him in the game as Arkansas State. I was just kind of going through some just trying to watch him at different spots, and he just just a straight blitz, just blasted the quarterback. There's something to this kid's game. There's some suddenness. He's ability to threaten. He could dip. He could rip. He could flatten. I saw those things. Those slow tackles. Some of those guys. You watch, like I say, there's some of those tackles weren't getting off particularly quick. I know in the USC game, but man, this guy's got some start-stop quickness to him. He could change direction. I love how he attacks the pocket. I love how he finishes with violence. And I think you can use him a lot of different ways in the defense. And I go back to the Wink Martindale stuff. I think that you can understand he's played in a pro defensive kind of a system there at Michigan. So I too have him in the 3rd round. I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of things you could do with him as just playing him off the ball, putting him in some covered situations. He looks like he's athletic enough for that. But if you want to take him and run him downhill and make him a rusher and do things like that, I have no problem with this kid at all.